So let's get some reaction to it. And Stephen, let's come to you first of all with the big one there, a rerun of last season's Champions League final. It is Liverpool against Real Madrid. It is Jurgen Klopp up against Carlo Ancelotti. And Carlo Ancelotti has garnered good results, hasn't he, against Jurgen Klopp in the past?
Yeah, it's a very difficult one. I got me fixtures mixed up the wrong way round. So Liverpool playing away from home in the second leg, which ideally, I mean, that's the beauty of finishing top of your group, that you get that opportunity to play at home in the second game. They don't get that, but they will. They'll want to avenge the final last year, albeit it doesn't win you the competition, but it gives you something to sort of rewrite, to sort of put right, if you like. And I think if it was to happen now, I think it would be a very difficult tie for Liverpool. But I think, given the timing of the games in February, I think it's a good moment for Liverpool, or potentially anyway, to correct what's going wrong at the moment, to put themselves in a better position, potentially maybe sign players in the January transfer window. I think it was interesting to listen to Carlo Ancelotti say that he will not be adding anyone to his transfer, to his squad. He's happy with what he's got. So I think it's a great game. You've got to beat the best teams to win it. And Real Madrid, champions, and you want to go to their backyard, cause a problem in the second leg, and hopefully win the game.
Sorry, Steve.
No, I was just going to say, I think Liverpool will fancy that over two legs. And I think a bit of revenge as well in terms of Courtois had a brilliant game, didn't he, in the final. Liverpool will be disappointed with that, so they'll want to put that right. And I think Real Madrid are going through a bit of a transition as well in terms of players coming in, younger players, very reliant on Benzema. So, yeah, I think they'll fancy it over two legs. It's obviously not the ideal draw that you would have wanted, but, yeah, I think they'll be OK.
Does it affect transfer policy? If they had, and with all due respect to Club Brugge, if Liverpool had drawn Club Brugge and you are going to the board to release some money and say, actually, I reckon we can have a real good run in the Champions League if we invest in January, and they'd look at Club Brugge and go, OK, yeah, I can see that, through to the quarterfinals, get a good draw there. But now, if you're going to the board and say, I reckon we can have a real good run in the Champions League now if we buy X, Y and Z, but you've got Real Madrid, does it affect their January transfer policy?
I think it goes off the league anyway. I think it's so vitally important that Liverpool finish within the top four, for bringing players into the club next year, for Champions League football next year as well. I think that it more hinges on that side of it, where they are come January and what the position is. I still think they will strengthen. I still think they'll buy a player, definitely in the transfer window. I think Jurgen Klopp said the other day, in hindsight, he wishes he'd have done it now, and I think that tells you everything.
OK, let's have a look at the draw in full. I guess the other one that sticks out quite quickly is Borussia Dortmund against Chelsea, the chance of Jude Bellingham coming to play on English soil in a Champions League game. That one will be quite tasty, won't it?
It will, and Bellingham's been outstanding, hasn't he? So I think it'll be really interesting to see him. He'll be looking forward to playing against Chelsea as well. And I think for Graham Potter, it's another opportunity for him to sort of test himself in a competition that he's wanting to embrace, he's wanting to be successful in. Of course, it's going to be difficult, but again, I think Chelsea would probably quite fancy that.
Yeah, I think that as well. It hasn't got Haaland, it hasn't got the informed Sancho. Yes, Bellingham's a good player, but you need someone to put the ball away at the end of it, and I think Chelsea will fancy the chances there.
Spurs, having seen AC Milan or watched them against Chelsea in the group stages, will the same be said of them fancying their chances against the Italian giants?
Listen, I think at any point in this competition now, I think you've got to fancy your chances. I think you've got to believe that you're capable of winning the games. And when I look at all the draws, I think Liverpool have arguably got the hardest draw out of all the teams. But I look at the rest of the teams and I think you should progress out of those games. I don't look at AC Milan and fear them. I know they're champions of the league, of Serie A, but I don't look at them and think, I wouldn't fancy playing them. I'd rather not play Napoli. I'd fear Napoli more than I'd fear AC Milan. I watched AC Milan against Liverpool last season quite closely, and I watched them against Chelsea this season. I don't look at them and think, God, they're a tough team to play against. I think they give you opportunities.
I think the most puzzling thing, 7-time winners, they've got their pedigree. The most puzzling thing for Keo Tomori, who will go into that game if, well, let's hope he's fit, looking to prove a point, because in the 2 games against Chelsea, the one at Stamford Bridge didn't have his best game, and obviously the game out in the San Siro was sent off. So he's a puzzle, because he's been so magnificent in Serie A for AC Milan, but just can't seem to find it in those 2 games, and is obviously doesn't look like he's in contention to go to the World Cup either.
Yeah, I don't think he'll over-panic. I don't think he'll be too concerned about that. I think from a player's point of view, I think you just have to know how much you're valued by your team, your manager and your club on a whole. I think he knows he's loved there. I think that's why you see the best of him. Maybe going back to his old team, the adrenaline was pumping a little bit too much. That happens.
Yeah.
I've had that myself before in the past, where you're so desperate to prove people wrong. He's already done it. He's already done enough to prove that he's a great player, and I do think it would be very, very sad for him if he doesn't make the World Cup, because I think he's been outstanding for AC Milan in the sort of the times that I've seen him play.
It's just sometimes you try too hard, don't you, when you go back to your old club, and you could see that. And even after that first performance, like listening to all of his interviews, he was saying, I'm going to put it right, I'm going to perform in this next game, and then that happened. So that sometimes just is the case, unfortunately. But I do feel that he is a good player, like you said, and he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, but I'm sure he will want to go out and just show his ability again.
We've only got about 10 seconds. And we haven't mentioned Man City. RB Leipzig, perhaps not the team that they were when they reached the semis in 2020. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. And again, I think Manchester City will be quite confident and comfortable in that one.